Good morning. Welcome to the Aaron L. Show. P. Diddy is back in the news, and we're going to talk about Puff Daddy, formerly known as P. Diddy. He's incarcerated for some sex allegations, sex trafficking charges. He was found not guilty on half of the charges. Half of the charges he was found guilty on. And P. Diddy's back in the news because he's claiming that he's in there waiting on sentencing, but he's claiming that he's suffering in jail. He's feeling suicide watch, and he's trying to get his legal team to file some motions to get him back in front of the judge to try to get him bail or get him released into his sentencing date. Now, I'm sitting back thinking to myself that, P. Diddy's been down probably about 13 months. Um, he was convicted on two charges. I think the maximum sentence that the two charges carry is 10 years apiece. They said it's a possible, it's 0 to 10 on both of the charges. So it's just not guaranteed he's going to get 10. It's not guaranteed he's going to get 0. He's waiting for sentencing. So they're waiting to see what he's going to get. So, but he having his legal team go in there and try to get him in front of the judge and state his case to see if the judge will grant him bail into his sentencing date. I believe it's a little nervousness going on with P. Diddy. And some bad news could have came down from his attorney, letting him know that he will do some form of jail time. He's been down 13 months. It could be possible the judge could sentence him to 5 years per charge, which will be a 10-year sentence, and he would have to continue to stay in jail. Now, it's a possibility that they let him bail out, until he gets sentenced. And but in my mind, I'm thinking to myself that it's a possibility that the judge is going to give him some jail time, because if you were found not guilty on the charges that would have gave you kind of like a life sentence, and now you got found guilty on a lesser charges, and the judge could possibly just give him a 10 years probation, 5 years probation for each charge. The judge could give him 2 years for each charge. He serves 4 and serves the rest out on probation. I mean, it's a lot of ways the judge can maneuver his sentencing, but I believe that P. Diddy is trying to get out of jail because he's nervous. I feel like he thinks, okay, it's coming down to the wire, it's getting close to a sentencing date. And I believe that he thinks that he's probably going to get sentenced to some jail time, some real jail time. And he's going to have to stay in jail without touching the streets first. Now, P. Diddy does have a celebrity status, a major celebrity status. I think it's getting to him. This is a very wealthy man. I think that sitting in jail those 13 months, I believe he has learned the lesson, but I feel like he's getting to a point where he wants to get out really bad. I think he feel like he's close to getting out. And if you ever been incarcerated, when it gets close to your release date, you get real anxious to come home. You start to build the anxiety to come home, and you start building a tiredness of not wanting to be there. I mean, that's anybody though. Your first day in jail, you're going to just want to go home. But I think that, if you knew you weren't getting out and you were going to have to stay a long time, after a certain amount of time, you get to a point where you just accept the fact that you're not getting out for a certain amount of time, and you stop kind of like really stressing yourself out about going home, and you just try to have patience to get out. But I think P. Diddy feels like he should have got bail. So I think that that's kind of building on his anxiety to go home. Like, hey, I should have got bail. I'm not facing a life sentence. I'm not a high risk of flight. You guys know I'm not looking at life, so why would I run? And he's probably just feeling like he should have came home. He's probably like bugging his attorneys and having them write the judge and just trying to figure out what can he do. Ankle monitor, be restricted to just his house. A lot of things that he's trying to figure out. What the judge wants him to do in order for him to be granted a bail. Now, in my mind, I was thinking, when I first seen the sentence come down, everybody thought Puff Daddy was through. I'm like, man, this dude is done. Look, they got him in there on these sex trafficking charges. Got him in there for assaulting a woman on camera. They got him on a lot of things. So in my mind, I was like, okay, P. Diddy, he done, bro. it's no way out of this. He's about to get 25, 30 years in jail, but hey, that wasn't the case. He had some great attorneys that was able to maneuver around, the law and, showed evidence that he wasn't guilty for certain things that they thought he was. And Puff Daddy ended up getting off some of the major charges, which that was a win for him and his team and his family. But now you have to realize that he did get found guilty for certain charges that carries a maximum of 10 years apiece, and the judge is going to sentence him to something. He's not going to just walk. If it's just probation, you're going to have that tail on you as you come back out into society, to where if you ever get yourself caught back up in something like this, you're facing some real time. So, but, like I said, they can also give him, probation, jail time. It's kind of like you can't really tell which way the judge is going to sway. I believe just to satisfy the public and not let this guy just walk scot-free, I believe they're going to give him some form of time. Now, given P. Diddy age, the judge could give him 10 years apiece on both sentences, and that's not a life sentence, but it's close to it because P. Diddy's at least in his 50s, so I believe they're going to be a little lenient with him. People probably going to be surprised. This guy's probably going to get 2 years per charge, which is 4. He's been down 13 months, and he's going to have to serve probably another 11 months in custody and come home on probation. But I think he's getting to a point, just the arrogance of having a lot of money. You got to realize the personality of somebody that's a multi-millionaire. They're used to getting their way. They're not used to hearing no. They're used to finessing any situation that's favorable for them, and he's not used to sitting somewhere and not wanting to be there and can't leave, and I'm pretty sure, P. Diddy, he's been rich for years and years. This is something major new to him. The food, the living conditions, the showers. I mean, it's just all over the place. I'm pretty sure he's getting a little perks in there. This is a multi-millionaire. He's in there waving a little money around, getting a little extra, but it's not really much extra to get. You can convince somebody, hey, oh, you work in a staff kitchen. Hey, man, look, I got a few zoom zooms and wham whams for you. When the staff get through eating, bring me some of that rotisserie chicken that was over there eating, or whatever the case may be. And then you got inmates that's working over there with the staff. They'll take some of the meat, act like they threw it away and tuck it and bring it back over there and make a few dollars, and that's how it goes in there. So I'm pretty sure P. Diddy, he has a few little perks, but I don't think it's enough for him, you know what I mean, because of the lifestyle he lived. He's used to eating steak and shrimp and all the sides and traveling all over the world, so now you got a guy that's confined to a room in a certain pod or a certain area. And I feel like it's just, after 13 months, it's just really starting to weigh on him. Now, he had his attorney file the motion, and inside the motion, the attorney wrote that, he's feeling suicide watch. He's feeling suicidal. So he's trying to tell them that he's been in there so long, he's starting to debate on killing himself, which I think that's just far-fetched, because you've been down 13 months. If you were feeling suicidal, you would have committed suicide by now. 13 months is a long time to sit there and kind of wait, but I mean, he could be feeling something for the simple fact that he's realizing that, it's a possibility of getting 10 years per charge, which is 20 years, and he has to serve, another 14, 15, 16 years possibly. So I'm pretty sure that's weighing on him heavy. He's getting unlimited phone calls. I'm pretty sure that the calls cost money, but the little pinch of money it costs to make a phone call, for the average person like us, it will really hurt our family. But for P. Diddy, he's probably on the phone all day long, because that money is just doing nothing for him. He's calling his attorneys, calling his family and friends, and he's just on the phone all day. So, best case scenario, he's able to maneuver around a little better than the average inmate. So the pressure of being in jail is weighing on him, but I don't think it's weighing on him like that. You know what I mean? So That's what I just think. That's just my mind state of what I think. So, P. Diddy, he's back in the news. He filed a motion trying to get bail again. He's been denied bail several times, but he's back in the news again, trying to come home on bail before sentencing. He's claiming suicide watch, which I don't believe he's suicidal, but we'll see how this play out, whether they listen to his motion and grant it and put him back in front of the judge to state his case. This is the Aaron L. Show. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back at y'all with another one. Boom.